All right, so we are still going through our for process. We know what our question is. We've looked at the variables that we have and the variables that we need. And these are the variables. We're going to use this invoice sales file right here. And we've identified the variables that we need. The next thing we've got to do is figure out, well, what's the logic to solve this? So we're going to go through and see if we can come up with a logical progression on how to solve this. All right, I'm just going to kind of back of the envelope try and figure it out here. Not going to get too crazy, but this is the logic to create the aging. Okay. So first of all, I've got to identify the amount that we're going to age. So and I've determined that that's going to be, when I look at those variables that we had, right? When we look at these variables, I'm going to be looking at dollars plus the freight. That's what I'm going to. That's what I need to. That's ultimately what we need to do. So the logic we have to do is create a new variable called owed, which is going to equal dollars plus freight. Okay. So I know again, I'm just trying to go through my logic, right? So I need to identify the amount to age, and this is what I need to age. So that's the first step. The next thing is I've got to create an aging bucket variable. All right? This is going to be a little bit more difficult. So in the aging bucket variable, what I'm looking for is I've got to look at the difference between one date and December 31 and see whether or not that difference, how long it's been outstanding, fits in any one of those different buckets. The 0 to 30, the 31 to 60, the 61 to 90, and the over 90. So I've got to look at, as of 12/31/2018, how long has this been unpaid? How long has this been unpaid? And so I can, if you've ever used if statements, if then else, I think that might be a good thing to use, right? So if the difference between one date versus December 31 is this many days, then we'll assign it a value of 0 to 30 or 31 to 60 or 61 to 90, etc. So that's ultimately what we want to try to do. So let's think about how to kind of write that series of formulas, and let's see if we can try to, try to come up with something that we can then logically then have flow into whatever tool we're going to use. All right, so we're going to start with an if statement. So if, let's say, the difference in the dates right, number of days, right? So we're looking at number of difference in dates based on the days between, say, 12/31/18 and, well, which date do you want to use? We could use invoice date or we can use delivery date. Well, when does it become owed to us? Well, when did we earn the revenue? Right? So we have to go back to our revenue recognition and say, do we earn it on the invoice date or did we earn it on the delivery date? right? Your choice. Your choice is for when you want to do this. So we could do based on the delivery date and age it that way. All right, so up to you, but I'll take a stab. We'll go with delivery date. All right, so we want to look at the difference between these days and see whether or not the difference is less than or equal to 30 days. And if that is the case, then we'll put it in quotation marks. So we're going to put a character in here. 0 to 30 is what we'll do. If it's greater than 30, then we'll go else. And then we'll put in another if statement. And it's going to be basically the same thing, difference between the dates using days between 12, 31, 18, and the delivery date. I'm just going to abbreviate that DD. Okay? If that is greater than 30 and less than or equal to 60, then we're going to make that equal to 31 to 60. So we're just creating these categorical variables by looking at the difference between the dates. If it's not that, then we go to the next line, else if the difference in the dates, as you can see, it gets a little repetitive, is greater than 60 and less than or equal to 90, then 61 to 90, else if difference date, days, is greater than 90, then plus 90, and then we'll end it here. Okay, so that's my logic, right? Now I got to figure out how does this ultimately get translated into my how do I, because all we're doing is we're creating a brand new variable. We've created two variables. That's all we've done. We've created this one, and then we've created this bucket variable, right? The next part of the logic after I finish this is I want to look at, so this is still the logic to create the aging. Then I want to take a look at each customer and each customer is outstanding, how much they owe us. And then spread it, and then disaggregate using the aging bucket variable. Okay, that's the logic, and then hopefully that will get me what I need. So we got to create these two new variables. Then I'm going to examine each customer's outstanding balance and then break it up between what the aging buckets are. So all I've done here is I've just created the logic. We don't do anything with any tools, any data, until we have a good understanding about how we're going to approach this.